so you're like curious if you're like an alpha, a sigma, a beta, a delta, a gamma, or an omega. Greek standards of male performance. Trust me, there's cons and benefits, pros and cons, drawbacks and benefits to each category. But according to your personality and physique is how you get categorized into each slot. So before we begin, I'm going to just take a couple of little measurements, okay? First and foremost, I'm going to be measuring the top of your head to the bottom of your chin, then from your ear to ear. Then I'm going to be measuring the distance between the height of your cheekbone to about the corner of your mouth on both sides, just to make sure that there's some symmetry. I'm also going to be kind of ratioing the symmetry on your face. And then I'm going to be turning you to the side. This is the most sensitive measurement. I'm going to be turning your face to the side to measure your chin, the depth of it, the width of it, the sharpness of it. And that'll indicate to me in what general vicinity you are in Russian style. So if you wouldn't mind, just stay still for me, please. Look forward at me. Look at my nose. Excellent. Okay. We've got a 9-inch face with a 7-inch width. Then we're gonna measure up the type of your cheekbone. It's about 5 inches right there. Over here. 5 inches right there. Nice and symmetrical. Excellent. You have a chance at carrying forth your seed. Now I'm going to be measuring your chin. So if you wouldn't mind looking to the right real quick, my right, your left. I'm going to be measuring out your chin real quick, okay? About 6 inches. Now if you wouldn't mind looking to my left, your right. Okay, excellent. I'm going to be measuring it out again here. 6 inches. I'm going to be measuring out the depth a little bit. Okay, look to the right from me, please. Your left. The depth. Okay, 3 inches. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically what we're going on here is that you have really good proportions. I'm going to note that down, okay? I'm going to note down all the proportions that I just took of your face, okay? So we've got a 9-inch face with a 6-inch width. With a 5-inch cheekbone. Symmetrical. And then we've got a jaw. Okay, I'm going to break down the different categories for you right now. Basically, we have alpha. Alpha is characterized by a very strong man personality. It is someone who does not follow the crowd. It is someone who is very self-assured, very confident, almost to a narcissistic point. They don't really value the inputs of others beyond just what might or might not make the best sense, but they typically have a confidence in themselves that rests assured that they've already accounted for whatever someone might bring up, and whatever they do bring up is just regurgitated information trying to distract them from their original plan. This alpha male is someone who is very successful. It is someone who is very competent, someone who puts their mind to something and accomplishes it. This is something that requires a lot of hurt feelings and a lack of care or indifference towards them. So if you're more sentimental, more romantic, more less social, you could say, less extroverted, then you probably, if not most certainly, do not qualify for the alpha position. Just from your eyes, I can tell that you're not someone who feels very comfortable with commanding and leading a group of people. You're not someone who's very comfortable with influencing other people. You tend to be more towards yourself, so the other options might be more towards your liking. So this alpha category might not actually be for you, so I'm just gonna jot that down. Okay, so the next option we have on the higher male hierarchy tier sort of pyramid that we have is the Sigma male. The Sigma male is someone who's kind of embodied by figures like John Wick or others. Sigma whale is someone who follows the beat of their own rhythm. They are someone who is very introverted, very much a loner, but they remain with that same level of confidence. They are a lone wolf who basically commands themselves and has a lot of composure. They are someone who has a lot of self-discipline. They are someone who can defend and protect themselves, and almost seems the alpha male can even be threatened by the sigma male. So it tends to be the case that if you feel a little bit threatened or a little bit insecure around an alpha male, you are most likely not a sigma male by that relation, because the sigma male tends to not care about the alpha male's influence. They tend to subvert it, disobey, stand diametrically opposed, or not even diametrically opposed, but rather completely uninvolved with a group policy. So from your eyes I can tell that you're a little bit resentful, if not bitter, of the alpha male. So I don't think the sigma male label really applies, because the sigma male is indifferent. So I'm just going to jot that down. Just sigma male, not applicable to you today. Not today. Not today. The next one we have is the beta male. The beta male does receive a lot of bad reputation, a lot of bad flack, a lot of bad news, but in reality the beta male tends to be the type of man that women like to settle down with. He's the type of man who tends to follow the alpha male, but usually tends to be more of a he tends to really value women. He tends to be someone whose main prize isn't necessarily monetary success or materialist definitions of what seems to be success in this world, but rather just the acquisition of a woman who loves him and takes care of him, and he wants to take care of her in return and have a family in return with her, and his greatest reward in life tends to be having a family with a woman. So that's about as far as his ego goes. For this reason, he tends to be mocked by his peers, much in the same way that women who identify with Charlotte from Sex and the City tend to be also mocked by their peers for being more of a romantic. So the beta male is someone that I can kind of see in your eyes. It seems like you're someone who really wants to fall in love with a woman and settle down and just kind of have that sort of satisfaction away from your male counterparts. But we're just going to still explore the other options. So I'm just going to put that down as a potential. A potential. Now, the delta male is the most fascinating and common personality type among men. The delta male is someone who's embodied by people like Jason Bourne, where it's almost like you're confused about their goals in life, because they're very on point with being like the busy bees, the busy workers. They're always on point doing everything they need to do, but not for any level of like notoriety or material success or to get a wife. It's almost like they're completely uninterested in all of those goals. It's really just for the sake of accomplishing the bureaucratic elements of those points. It's almost like Anna Karenina's husband, whose name eludes me at the moment. It's a very busybody type of person, someone who takes satisfaction at just getting a job done well, but doesn't really care for any of the social appraise, nor for the using that job well done to levy or leverage themselves into a marriage or to get any type of woman. They're a very funny type of bunch. It's kind of like the bureaucratic pixies from the Fairly Odd Parents. That's the delta male. I don't really quite see that in your eyes, even though it's a very common personality type. It's basically someone who checks off posts boxes on the dossier, basically. Now, the next one on the list is a little bit more of an unhinged, maladjusted personality type. It's the gamma personality type. So, the gamma personality type is basically someone who's very Antisocial, someone who doesn't care for any of the alpha, sigma, beta, delta, any of the male personality classifications, even though he still falls under the gamma personality type. He's someone who's very almost obsessive and stalkerish, very intelligent, unfortunately, but someone who's very bitter and resentful at their place in life. There's someone who's very lost inside of the sauce. There's someone who is basically not winning in any field of their life, but they're still very, very constructively critical, and there's someone who's very aware, despite the fact that they lack self-awareness in how to improve their conditions in life. This person is a bit disturbed, and both men and women tend to avoid him, so that's the gamma. I don't see that in your eyes. And finally we reach the omega, the last, saved for last, although most certainly not the least. The omega personality type is basically the very awkward nerd who's just content doing whatever he needs to do, but tends to kind of surrender himself to life. He doesn't quite expect anything out of it. He's made peace with the fact that he feels like there's nothing good that's ever going to come his way, but likewise nothing truly negative ever really happens to him. Maybe misfortunate circumstances, but nothing devastating. The omega man is someone who tends to be kind of overlooked and forgotten, ignored, much like any sort of like very background character in a show, kind of like Kevin from The Office. That tends to be the omega man. I see a little bit of traces of omega in your eyes, just a little bit, but mostly I see beta. I see you as a beta male, but I'm not gonna lie, that's actually a little bit attractive. The alpha male tends to not have any time for his family. That doesn't appeal to me. My heart is going to hurt. The sigma male tends to be a little too cool for school. For me, that's kind of lame. But the beta male tends to be the most romantic. I like that. So, that's the classic personality classification that I find you with. Congratulations, you have been diagnosed with beta male. I hope you don't do anything about it, and I hope you embrace your full self without necessarily having to paint your nails or wear necklaces. Try to avoid those types of behavior. That's more like gamma male behavior. Honestly, psychotic. Nonetheless,